Hello and welcome back to this channel. So in today's tutorial, we're gonna learn about the new perspective grid in Adobe Fresco. So let's just get started. I just have to warn you that I'm not really an expert on perspectives. I don't usually draw things in perspective like 1 point, 2 point or 3 point because most of my illustrations are flat. But since Fresco introduced this new guides, I just wanted to show you guys what all you can do with it. So I went ahead and created something very simple. We're going to draw a 3-point perspective illustration or urban sketch using Adobe Fresco. So let's just get started. I'm going to click on create new. Let's go to digital and click on current screen size. Okay, so before we begin, make sure you have updated your Fresco because otherwise you won't be able to see it, okay? So your perspective guide is actually hidden here under this icon. You have to click on grids and then you get this option called as perspective. So here it might be set to graph, so make sure you go ahead and select perspective. So as usual, we have three options, 1 point, 2 point and 3 point. This is not a tutorial on how to draw with perspective because I'm not an expert on that. I can't really teach you that, okay? But I can obviously walk you through all the different tools that Fresco has provided so that it makes it much easier to actually draw with this particular thing. Okay, let's go ahead and check out our 3-point perspective, which we are going to do in this tutorial, by the way. But let me just quickly go to 1 point now. When we click on 1 point perspective, you will get something like this. And if you want to edit, you can always click on the edit vanishing point and then you get this bulb kind of a thing. So you can actually click and move it anywhere you want on the screen. So you can move it here or anywhere you want, and I'll show an example of when I move it here, what can I create? I'll show you an example. This is something you can create with the vanishing point somewhere here. So this is a 1 point perspective. I don't have anything for a 2 point perspective unfortunately, but this is a 3 point perspective artwork that I created, and we're going to create this and then we're going to learn everything that we need to know about the perspective tools that Fresco has provided. Okay, let's go back here and let's go into a perspective, and I'm going to choose 2 point, and for 2 points similarly when you click on edit vanishing points you will see 2 points, and if you want to move the horizon you can just click here and it moves up and down, okay, both of them. If you want only one you can just do like this. That's how you do it. Okay, let's go ahead and select 3 point. Okay, let's click on edit vanishing points. So I'm going to go ahead and edit the vanishing points in such a way that one is up right above here and the other one is somewhere around here. Okay, you can move this vanishing point up and down like this, and let me place it somewhere around here. Okay, click on done. Now you might see a lot of lines here, but in your artwork you might not have so many lines. The whole thing is nothing but here it's called density. If you decrease it, you see the number of lines decreases, and this makes sure that number of line increases. I'm going to keep it at this. Really depends on how many you want. It doesn't matter more or less. Okay. The opacity is nothing but the opacity of these lines. So you can decrease it or increase it. I'm keeping it a higher number because so that you can see it through the screen. All right. And then the grid color. This is really handy because if you have any of these colors in your artwork, then it becomes impossible to see the grids. So what you can do is you can click and then you can choose whatever color you want and change it. Okay. All right. So let's start drawing now. And I'm going to show you a few more cool things that you can do while you try to draw. Okay. And I'm going to go into my brush. So for brush, I'm clicking on my pixel brushes and I will go into ink and Belgian comics, which is my favorite by the way. And I'll keep it around 58. So you can just click and then, make it up and down and select, or you can click and hold. You get this tab and you can choose whatever you want. 58 is just an approximate. You can keep it at whatever you want. Other settings are default settings. That is flow is 100 and smoothing is 1. Okay, so that's perfect. Our brush is also set. Now let's start drawing. So if I start drawing, now I have guides. That's awesome. But it's going... This is not how I want. I need real help while drawing this perspective drawing because I have no idea how to do it. So what do? You come here and there's this option called snap to grid axis for drawing. So I'll just click on that, and now when I try to draw, it snaps to that particular line. Do you see that? Let me reduce the opacity. Maybe it's too bright, I guess. Okay. See, it just snaps like this. I can draw wherever I want and everything snaps perfectly fine. By the way, you can use any brush that you want. You can use your pixel brushes, vector brushes, or even live brushes for your illustration. It works perfectly fine, okay? One thing I want to warn you is using a pixel brush in this kind of illustration, you have to make sure that the points, the lines, etc. are like snap in properly. There's nothing extra. You'll have to go with the eraser and erase things off. If you want to avoid that, use vector brushes, because then you can use vector trimming to clean off the excess lines that come out. And if you don't know how to use vector trimming, I have a video on that. I will link it in the description box below, and I'll also put it here somewhere in the cards. Go check it out. It's an awesome tool, and you need to know that if you want to work with Fresco. Okay. Alright, so now let's just start illustrating things. I'm going to keep this option turned on, and I'll just click here to turn it off, only because I want to show you guys what I'm drawing. If I was doing this not for this video, then I would keep this panel open so that I can switch back between drawing with the guides and without the guides, and I'll show you exactly what I mean in a while. Okay, so let's begin. So I have my horizontal line here, so I'm just going to click and draw a line. If you're drawing right now as we speak, you'll know that you're not trying to keep a straight line. It's just automatically drawing a straight line, right? That's perfect. Okay. And now you know this is the center. So I'm just going to click and drag. And you see these two pink lines? Make a note of it, because they're going to be very handy later on. And this is okay. And now I'm going to go ahead and draw it like that. And then come back down here. And I want to do the same thing here. And then come back down here, and I'll try to draw one more line, and then one more here. Okay, that became too thick. That's okay, that's fine, it's okay. And then like this. That's perfect. Now I'm going to go ahead and draw one more center line. So I'm adding a little pressure and sometimes no pressure at all, so to create these thick thin lines, because I want to create this inky urban sketch feeling. That's the reason I'm doing it. If you want a uniform width, choose a brush that has uniform width, or turn off the pressure sensitivity so that you don't get this kind of thing. Okay, and now I'm going to draw again like this. And now when I move, you see these pink lines here, it kind of shows me where the edge of this one is. Oops, let me undo that. I want to show it properly. I'm going to go ahead and draw, and now you see it kind of stops here. It says I should stop here if I want the perspective to be right. So I'm going to stop here, and now I can join these two, and it kind of coincides with the line there. So here again, let me go ahead, and you see the pink line, it stops over there, and then go ahead and join these two. And that helps me create these nice buildings and things where, points have to meet together. Like I said, this brush is not exactly meant for that. Your vector brush would be perfect for it. And if you can use that if you want to, but I'm going to use this because I like the inky feeling. Let's go ahead. Now I'm going to make one more here, probably bring it down, and maybe like this, and then down. Okay, that looks good. I want one big building here, and then go ahead and draw this. Okay, that's a bit too much, right? Let's undo that using your 2-finger tap. I'm going to go ahead and draw a little bit like this and like that. Okay, and then try to draw this. You see it's too little, so I'm going to go ahead and draw from here, and it's going to go join because there's very little space left in that angle, right? If you want, you can make it more thicker. I'm going to do that, I guess. Make it this thick. That. I'm going to add this. I want to add this line, but I can't add it right now because of the perspective. But don't worry, you can just go ahead and click on uncheck this drawing aid, and now you can go ahead and use your lines. By the way, if you hold and draw and let go, it will create a straight line. If the snap to straight line is not working for you, go here, go to app settings and go to input, touch, and there is snap line here. Make sure you turn this on. Let's undo that. So you can click and hold, and then it creates a straight line. By the way, you could do that. I'm just going to join it because it's an urban sketch. Who cares, right? Okay, so let's go ahead and do this. Wait a minute. Oh, I need to turn the drawing guide on. So I go here and click on drawing. Now we go ahead and draw this, and you see the pink lines. I want this to be a little bit, yeah, I want this to be a little above this, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and then now draw like that. And then I can go ahead and draw until I see this pink line coinciding over here. And now I can draw this like that. Let's go ahead and draw one more. Like this, that, maybe like this. Turn it off. And like that, okay. Turn this back on. I want something here as well. So like that. And maybe here. And that pink line coincides here. You see that? Let go. And then join. Maybe here. And then here like that. Okay. We are not done yet. I want to add a bit more here like that. Add a bit more. So I'm going to go ahead and make it like that. Make it like this. Extend this. Join these two. Join this two and join this two. Okay. That looks much better. That's exactly what I want. Okay. And in here I want to add some columns. So I'm going to go ahead and add them. You see how easy that was to actually draw things out, because you don't have to worry about making the right angles. So it comes out automatically, right? Okay. I think our building is almost ready, but wait a minute, I'm not done yet. I want a front lawn. So maybe around here in the center. So I'm just going to go ahead and select that and maybe like that. Okay. And I want some lines here, some rough lines like that. Okay, and then here like this. Oops, can bring it from here if that doesn't work. That looks fine to me. How does the tree come? We'll just make a mark here. Okay, and I want some bushes in the front. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a mark where the bushes will start, or the, the ledge, or the, yeah, okay. I guess that looks good, but we're not done yet. We have a lot more things to do. For example, I want a clock here, so we're going to add a clock. But it's very difficult to draw a circle when in perspective, right? It's really difficult because you don't know how it needs to be angled. So don't worry, there is one more thing that you could do. That is the shapes. The shapes actually work with perspective. What I mean is, click and hold. Now we have the ruler. We can start with the ruler, by the way. And once you turn it on, you see this little symbol right here with a cross on it. Now it's a simple ruler, nothing else. If you click on this, now you can see it acts as the perspective guide. See? Okay, so the same thing works for other shapes as well. That is, click and hold, and let's do a circle now. And once we go here, you again get two options here. You see this? So it shows the different faces, like, this is the top one. Now there is no perspective on it. Now it's the right side, and now it's the left side. Okay, so we want the right side, and we are keeping like this, and now you can just adjust that. You can adjust it by actually drawing, and click here, and now you can draw a circle like this. And now if I click it, there you go, you have a very nice clock ready. You can do the same thing with other shapes. For example, the square, I'm going to go ahead and edit it a little bit. Oops. I'm going to go here, click on transform, and then once you're ready, click on this and then just draw like that. Just uncheck that and you have your window ready. By the way, you can do this for all the windows as well. Just bring it down, click, and then draw, click, bring it down, click, and then draw. So you could do that. You see, it changes the shape as you move it down because it changes according to the perspective. Okay, it's not the same uniform size. Okay, that's cool. And now you can go ahead and add some freehand drawings to this as well. So you don't have to necessarily do only drawings in the drawing aid mode. So you just click on here and you can uncheck this one, and then you can go ahead and draw some things. Like I want to draw some bushes here, and maybe I'm going to go ahead and do that on a new layer. Click on a new layer and let's draw some bushes. I want a tree. That. Something like this. And maybe over here as well. Scribbling my trees. Scribble, scribble, scribble. Like that. Why not? Okay, that looks good. And I want some here as well. Like this. That looks nice. I'm going to go into my eraser tool and go back into the layer which has this straight line. And I'm going to go ahead and erase this off. The same thing here. Erase this line as well. Okay, and now let's go on to a new layer and let's add all the tiny bits. So I'm going to go back into my pixel brush. Now the drawing aid is turned off. So we're going to add some building stuff to it, like windows and things. Now it looks like a building almost, right? I'm going to add some window thingy here. Okay, our perspective drawing is actually ready and the only thing left is to paint this. So what we're going to do is go back to this bottommost layer, click on a new layer, and I'm going to go ahead and paint this one. I'm going to go into my pixel brushes and click on marker, and let's choose marker brush because I feel like using markers today. I don't have a particular color palette for this. I'm just choosing some random colors. I'll choose this go all the way up here. And let's choose some orangish yellow, and my marker setting is at 146. It doesn't matter actually, and I'm just going to draw like this. It's very rough. If you know urban sketching, you know that you don't really paint within the lines. So let's reduce this, bring this down a bit, make it a bit darker on this side. You can actually reduce this. I'm going to keep it at 70s and then draw these two. Let's choose some blue actually and make it all blue, blue, blue. And I'm going to mark this as blue. And maybe darker blue on this side. And let's make this also blue. And I want a bit red, maybe this pinkish, and darker, like that. Let's choose a bit more, I don't know, a little bit orange, I guess, why not? Like that. Give this that color. Okay, that looks cool. I want this to be a little bluish and grayish, like that. I'm going to go ahead and add this color because this is supposed to be glass. I actually found a reference photo on Google. This is not from my complete imagination, because I found this glass window on one of these things and I thought that will look super cool. Okay, there you go. And now I'm going to go ahead and choose dark color. Click on new layer. I'm going to go ahead and add bits of pieces like this. Don't worry, I'll go into my layers, click on overlay, and hope it's nicer now. So I'm making black. Okay, this is better. Select black, please, otherwise it doesn't work. Like that. Add a bit here and a bit here and on the corners like that. That looks good, but I'm not done yet. I want to add a bit to the windows here. Like that. And maybe a bit blue, because just like that, it kind of gives it a nice look when there's a little bit of pop of color happening. Okay, now I'm going to click on new layer. I have black, by the way, and I'm going to go ahead and color this off. Something like that. And I want a little bit of color here and there, especially this. Oops, that's too big actually. Reduce the size. Don't completely color it off, the windows, I mean, let's a little bit here and there. Okay, now I want the clock, so I'm going to go ahead and choose a color which is very light in color. Go to yellow and maybe pale yellow, and I'm going to go ahead and go to your brush, by the way, and go ahead and add the clock. And let's choose black and go back to your Belgian comics. I'm going to go here into my favorites and select that, and I'm going to add a clock. That looks good. Now let's click on a new layer. So let's go to our marker, brush. Now I want some gray here, so I'm going to go into my color palette and choose a gray, and I'm going to add some color. I'll increase this, by the way, to about 60s. Whichever is easier for you like to color. Okay, and then I will bring it down a bit to make it a bit darker and try to add color about here like that. That should be good. Now I want some brown, so I'm going to go into my brownish, that is, you can keep it somewhere orange, and then you can bring it here, and I'm going to go ahead and color this area. I'll go ahead and choose a little darker and go ahead and add some bits and pieces, especially here where there's some plants. Okay, that looks cool. Now let's go ahead and add some green. So click on a new layer. Let's choose some green. I'm going to keep it here so that it's a little darker, and maybe some green like that. Maybe here as well, and in the middle like that. Can increase the size to about 80s or whatever. I'm going to add some color like this. Let's go ahead and choose a bit darker color. I'm going to add some bits here. Of course, I'm going to add here as well. And here. To the bottom of the tree, by the way. Okay. So we're going to keep the bottom dark and we'll put the lightest color on top. That's the idea. Okay. Like that. And I'm going to go into a really light but move more towards the yellow so that it's bright and nice, and add some yellow here, green here. I'm going to go ahead and choose some here as well. I'm going to increase this about 160s. It's nicer, and add some here as well. By the way, you can decrease this again. So play around with the size of the brush to get the effect that you want, by the way. So I'm just going to add a bit more darker green here. You can actually choose even darker if you want. Like that. this, and then okay, that looks good. And now I'm going to go to the layer below that, click on a new layer. Let's go ahead and choose the brown that we have. Any brown is okay, and let's just add this like that. And you can actually choose a little darker one and then add a bit of shadow in this side. That looks good. Time for the sky. Go back to the lowest layer that you have, click on a new layer, and let's choose some blue but very light, maybe like this. I'm gonna add some blue, but I want a really bigger size, about 250 or something. So my video got stopped recording. Okay, so where was I? I'm just going to increase this a little bit and try to add in some blue, but I'm not going to fill in the whole thing. I'll just add a little bit, and that's it. That's done. After this, all you have to do is click here and go back and turn off your grid, and then your artwork is ready to be exported. You can always export it using your share, publish and export, and that's it. I know this was a super simple video tutorial because, like I said, this was about finding out what's new in Fresco. By the way, I just wanted to let you know about this perspective. There's one more thing. If you have like a 2 or 3 point perspective, and if you want to click on edit vanishing points, you can actually move these vanishing points anywhere that you want. It need not be here, and this need not be in the center. You can work anywhere that you want. And if you click on this line, horizontal line, you can move it up and down, by the way. And then obviously move anywhere you want any of these lines. Okay, so these are usually very helpful when you're creating illustrations like the Spider-Man moving across the buildings and things like that. But I unfortunately don't know how to draw those things. I'm really not good at that, so I can't really show you those things today, but I just thought I'll show you this. Do you remember the tulip drawing that we did earlier? If you haven't seen the tutorial yet, you can go check it out. I'll leave a link in the description box below or in the card here. This uses a 1 point perspective, and the windmill is right at the perspective point. Okay, that's where it coincides, kind of thing. Okay, so that brings us to the end of this tutorial, and I hope you liked it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. You can support this channel by buying me a coffee on ko-fi.com. It helps me keep this channel up and running. If you do create something, don't forget to tag me in Instagram using print me some color or think beyond color. I would love to check out what you guys create. Okay, I guess I'll see you in the next video then. Bye bye.